Hi, my name is Kaylee Hartman, and I'm going to be talking about formative assessment, and this is video 1 for our assignment. Alright, so first of all, what is formative assessment? So formative assessment refers to a wide variety of methods that teachers use to conduct in-process evaluations of a student and their learning. This normally happens during a lesson or during an activity or assignment that students are completing. It's our job to evaluate our students and give them feedback while they're learning. So there's many different ways that this can be done, and I'm going to be going over selected response, extended response, performance assessment, and personal communication assessment. All of these in which we've learned in this course so far. To begin with is selected response, and selected response is multiple choice questions, matching, and true and false questions. This is something that I think we are all very familiar with just because we've seen it since we've been in elementary school. Multiple choice is a very popular way of assessing students, and even throughout high school and college, I run into selected response questions on almost every single test that I take. And it's used for assessing knowledge, reasoning, and disposition targets. There's many advantages and disadvantages that come with selected response. First of all, an advantage is it's objectively scored, meaning it's either black and white. There's either a right or a wrong answer and no in between. It's easy to grade and it's quick to respond, so it gives the students direct feedback, and it's nice for them to see where they're at, what they need to do, what they need to improve on, or if they're doing all right. And it's relatively easy to construct and modify, meaning they don't take much time to make, and if you are wanting to use the same selected response questions over the years, but things are changing, Common Core standards or whatnot are being modified, this is very easy to modify. You can go in and change around the answers or tweak the question. But some disadvantages are it does not test higher levels of cognition. And it also rewards guessing rather than knowing. I know a lot of teachers, when they're giving their students a multiple choice or true-false or matching test, they often tell the students, oh, pick the one that you think is the best answer if you don't even know it. Just, go with your gut instinct, or process of elimination, which is good that the teachers are informing the students that's a good way to pick an answer if you aren't knowing it, but we want the students to know what they're learning. We don't want them to have to guess on every question that they're taking. I think it's important that they are showing that they know the material. So this is one really big disadvantage for me. And it's also not authentic assessments. It's not dealing with real life situations. And it's also limited feedback. Like I said, you're not getting to see inside the student's brain. You're just seeing what answer they circle. It's either right or wrong. Moving on to extended response. Extended response is one type of assessment that I really enjoy. I have always liked extended response. It gives the student a chance to respond to what they know and provide detail in their answer. Giving an answer and supporting it is really important to me. I think that it's great to see what the students know and what they don't know. It's really good to see what they need help on, and maybe if they're just a little confused in one area, just seeing their answer really gives a lot of feedback for them and you as a teacher. But when having extended response questions, it's also very important to have a rubric. That way the students know what they are being tested on and what guidelines to follow when they're doing this extended response question. It also is helpful for the teacher because not all of the answers are going to be the same as they would be in a selected response assessment. They're going to be different and they're going to vary, so it's important that you have a basic or even a complicated, depending on the teacher, rubric that helps you mark off each step the student is completing in their response. Alright, next is performance assessment. This is another one that I really like. I think it's a great way to assess students. It's used for measuring skill, product, and disposition targets. Performance assessment is one way for students to kind of show the teacher what they know, and it's great for any subject area. PowerPoints can be presented. You can do just a presentation in general to the class. Book reports, hands-on activities, experiments, skits, and even readers' theaters. I think those are all awesome. It gets the students engaged, it gets them talking, and it kind of just is it's a better way, to me, in my eyes, to assess some students. students. You know, not everybody is good at written tests, so I think it's really good performance assessments to give those other students who do a better job orally presenting something or modeling something that they have learned. I think that it's an awesome way for students to show what they've learned, and it's also great for the teacher because it helps them see visually where their students are at. All right, so personal communication assessment. I actually wasn't I didn't know much about this coming into this class, so this is all kind of new to me. But what I've learned so far, I really enjoy personal communication assessment. I think that it's something that I would use a lot in my classroom someday. So it's just simply dialogue between students and a teacher. A lot of times this is done in whole class discussions or simply just one-on-one with the student. It's kind of maybe like a mini conference or even just asking students questions to get higher level thinking and just start a good discussion and just come with the student in general. It's really good for the teacher to hear what their students have to say, and it's also good for the student to have a voice and, you know, voice what they want to say and their opinion about whatever you're doing in class. It could be an assignment or even just an oral report. So I think this is a really good way to see the student's point of view. One thing that I would do is if I was having conferences or one-on-one time with students, I would just make some personal notes to myself so I can go back and reflect on that, and it's really good to just have records of everything you're assessing. So how to perform formative assessment. So there's many different ways to give feedback to students, and I learned a lot of different ways to give feedback throughout this class. As a teacher, it's our job to check for understanding throughout a lesson or activity. It's so important that we are constantly checking on our students, checking in with them, observing them, and just making sure that they're on the right track and understanding. That's to us, and it's so important that we know the correct ways to perform formative assessments. So I'm just going to go through a list of some of the examples of formative assessment. So simply observing, I think this is the easiest way to perform formative assessment, just walking around the classroom, seeing what your students are doing, if they're having trouble, getting them back on track, and just starting conversation, which leads into questioning and discussions. It's just asking them maybe questions that have to deal with the learning target, just starting discussions with the whole class, or even just one-on-one, like I was saying in the performance communication assessment. Super important to know where your students are coming from, and having that conversion between student and teacher interaction is so important. Exit slips are one thing that I really enjoy. I use them right now in my practicum for my students. Every lesson, it really helps me reflect on myself and my own teaching, and the students enjoy doing the exit slips. I think that it's really good for me because I can focus my next lesson on what their exit slips are telling me. Am I doing a good job? Are they understanding it? Do I need to make things easier, or do I need to challenge them a little bit? They're just a really great way to formative assess. So learning or response logs. This is something that we actually do in our reading class, and I think it's very effective. She gives us a learning log every day in class, and our job is to fill it out throughout class. And it really helps me stay attentive to class because I'm constantly writing my learning log and listening to what points I need to be writing down. So some other ones are graphic organizers, which are great. It's good for students, easy to look at for teachers. Peer and self-assessment is something that I also really strongly believe in. I love getting input or feedback from my peers, and it's also really good to see their side of things, what they have to offer, and some suggestions they may have. Practice presentations and visual presentations are both very, I really enjoy practice and visual presentations. I think they're great for students. And then also constructive quizzes. These are a great way to test students' knowledge and to do formative assessment. So that is all I have for my, so thank you.